going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you... What the heck, Jeff? Why aren't you reviewing the new Tequila? Hey there, concerned viewer. I appreciate your interest, in my opinion, on the brand new New Balance Tequila V2. Unfortunately, while the boots have been unveiled, I have been unable to attain a pair to actually review. They're not actually in stock yet. As soon as they're available, I will do a review on the channel, but until I physically have the boots in my hands, I am unable to do so. I will be making a review on the new Tequila as soon as I possibly can. In the meantime, please enjoy this one. So as I was saying, today's video will be my review plus on-feet video of the New Balance Furon V5 Pro in the new Bayside Blue colorway, a football boot designed specifically for sprinting that I think is a little bit underrated. And the reason why I say that is because the Furon legitimately does certain things better than some of the most popular speed boots out there right now. It's not without its downsides, of course, but with that in mind, I want to go over what actually makes the Furon more special than a lot of people give it credit for. So if you want to learn more about these, including how they fit and feel on feet, please stick around and watch the entire video. And if you're interested in a pair for yourself, for a limited time, SR4U fans can get special pricing on the latest pack from New Balance, including the Furon, including the brand new Tequila that I have yet to review on the channel. Either way, you get a special discount. It's only for a limited time, so if you want to get a pair, first link down below. If you guys do end up enjoying this video and would like to see more reviews from smaller brands like New Balance, don't forget to support this one with a like. And if you're new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on daily content from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. So included with the boots is a box. Also included is an extra set of comfort insoles to go along with the lightweight ones inside of the boots. And these insoles in particular, it has a mesh liner on top. It looks pretty normal, but it has this very subtle kind of silicone texturing to it that actually grips your socks really nicely, and it's made from a decent thickness of ortholite foam. And they also include a string bag that's not really a string bag, it's more of a boot bag, because while it does have strings, you can't actually wear it as a backpack, and I feel like that's kind of what makes a string bag a string bag. Either way, you get a bag, it's black in color with a blue accent with the NB football logo there on the front to match the boots. Nothing on the back. The fact that they included it at all is a nice little extra, which is why it gets a string bag or a boot bag rating of 49 out of 70. Yeah, 70. So starting off with the colorway, I really like what New Balance is doing with the Furon V5, where every single colorway release seems to get its own unique graphics. This Bayside Blue one kind of having this dark navy blue, almost pinstripe type pattern, kind of running along the bottom part of the upper that contrasts really nicely with all of the dark blue accents that you have throughout the boot, especially on the sole plate. So this being the Bayside Blue color, that is the main kind of lighter aqua blue you have for the majority of the upper, and then it's just kind of tonal blue on blue, which I think looks quite good. For me, this is actually the best looking colorway and graphics pack that we've had for this particular boot. And also, if you look closely at the sole plate, this is a really cool effect. It's got this kind of aqua blue sparkle in the navy blue, which looks really cool, and it's not a wearable finish. It's just within the plastic, which I really appreciate, because wearable finishes, while New Balance has done them themselves, I'm just not a huge fan of. When it comes to performance, New Balance really wanted to emphasize the fact that the Furon is inspired by a sprinter's spike, and being that sprinting is a huge part of what makes a speed boot, in that you want it to be light, you want it to have aggressive traction, you want it to fit your foot as closely as possible. This does 2 out of 3 things that I just mentioned really, really well, with I would say the major downside being the fact that it's not heavy, but it's not quite as light as I think it should be, but we'll get to that in just a second. The one thing though that I think is super underrated about this boot is the upper. The combination of the Phantom Fit base, which is basically the webbing you see on the underside, and then the Hydra-Skin top layer, which is the combination of this very thin mesh as well as a TPU top layer, kind of exactly like Nike's Nike Skin, and Adidas has their variation of it. Every single brand is doing a very thin layer of polyurethane as kind of a surface texturing for their upper, but what you have as a final product here is something that is super thin, super soft, and if I had to compare it to any other synthetic out there, this reminds me a heck of a lot of the Teijin synthetic material that we used to see on the Mercurial Vapor back before it turned knitted. It's super thin, it's super raw, there's really no extra padding, and it's very consistent across the entire foot, meaning that there's really no overlapping materials, there's no seams. They've done a good job with the upper, and the way that this boot fits also gives you this very tight wrap kind of enhancing the barefoot sensation that you would already get just because of how good this upper is. It does, of course, feature a one-piece construction as well, and this is something that not everyone is a huge fan of. What New Balance has done here is they've gone with a more shallow lacing system. So the result of that is that the lockdown through the forefoot is perhaps not what it could be had the lacing system gone down a little bit deeper, but because they left it higher, you're left with a much cleaner surface area across the top of the forefoot than you would typically have with pretty much any other speed boot, short of a laceless one, of course. But the lockdown on this is much better than pretty much any laceless speed boot, I would say. So again, you get a very natural barefoot sensation while wearing the Furon. As far as the lacing system is concerned, you can see that through the middle it's filled in with kind of a mesh-based material that's reinforced by some kind of a synthetic on the top. Again, equally as thin as what you'll find across the rest of the foot. And the lacing system is effective in terms of locking your midfoot in place, as well as providing sufficient heel lockdown. Moving to the rear, just like a Sprinter Spike, they have maintained a low-cut design, cut a little bit lower, to be honest, down the sides than most other football boots, which is kind of the opposite of what the industry is doing right now, but I actually really like that about this, and I think it's the right way of doing a speed boot. You want to have less material rather than more. It does have an internal plastic heel counter, although it's not particularly hard, which is actually good from a comfort standpoint, because I think New Balance has made the mistake of just making the heel area a little bit too stiff on some past models. And then as far as the heel liner is concerned, they've kept things as simple as possible, just being a nice synthetic leather material with minimal amounts of padding, but enough there to still be comfortable. The insoles are fully removable, this being the lightweight variation, which features the exact same liner that I really like, but it's just a much thinner, lighter type of foam. If you want something more significant, they do include that extra set in the box. Which brings us to the sole plate and stud pattern. And to be fair, what the Furon has is one of the most unique layouts you'll find on any football boot, period, not just speed boots. The sole plate being a TPU plastic base with nylon inlays. So basically the dark blue is TPU plastic, and then the light blue is the nylon, basically support cage that runs through the heel as well as the midfoot to provide good rigidity as you'd want with pretty much any football boot. You can see it almost acts as a spine though, running through the forefoot as well as into the big toe area, just to give you that kind of bounce back type effect, similar to a Sprinter Spike, that actually works really nicely. I'm not a huge fan of stiffer sole plates, but this, along with the new AeroTrack sole plate or AeroTrack design that you have on the new generation of Mercurials, are really the only two that feel like they've been stiffened in such a way that actually does benefit the feel and arguably the performance of the boot. Because I still think it's hard to say that this added bit of kind of spring back effect is actually going to make you run faster, but that's a personal opinion. As far as the firm ground stud pattern is concerned, again, kind of a unique layout, very much Sprinter Spike-esque. I think that the studs could be a little bit longer, being that this is the FG layout. I think it would make it that much more aggressive, but the layout as a whole, I really like. They've positioned a ton of studs kind of towards the front part of the toe when you're going to be on your toes, kind of accelerating as quickly as possible. There's some support studs at the base, and then kind of these mini studs, which is a little bit weird. You can see in the heel, it does technically have 4 studs, but 2 of them are very short. So it's kind of like a 2-stud layout, similar to what we've seen on the Mercurial line in the past that a lot of people really, really liked. It's actually a very good stud pattern and a very good sole plate, which brings us to the weight, which is the one area where I do think that the Furon could be improved, but it's not to say that they're heavy boots. They're just not as light as some of the competitors. In a size 9.5 US, the Furon V5 Pro, as you can see, weighs in at 7.8 ounces, the equivalent of 221 grams, which again is not heavy. It's in the same weight range as most top-end models currently available. But could it be lighter? Yes. Should it be lighter? Yes. Which is why I'm kind of criticizing the weight. I think this boot should be 7 ounces or less in this particular size. So as you can see, I have swapped out the stock blue laces that are kind of a little bit unusual on this boot. It's almost like a ribbon style lace, but I have changed them for some glow-in-the-dark blue SR4U replacement laces. And I know what you're thinking, why do you need glow-in-the-dark laces if you never play in the dark? Well, think about this for a second. If you did play in the dark, you'd be fully prepared, plus they look pretty cool. So if you're looking to change up the style of your boots in a very inexpensive way, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in some for yourself, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, I find the Furons to be really comfortable. I think what's nice about this particular boot is it gives you that one-to-one tight wrap around your foot that you expect from a pair of speed boots, but nowhere do they feel like they are kind of constricting your feet, squeezing them as tight as possible. That's never been a sensation that I've found to be particularly comfortable, and it's something that always results in foot cramping for me, especially through the midfoot, being that I do have slightly flat feet. With this particular boot, which is available in a regular width and a wide width, this being the regular width one that I'm wearing, this is going to be one of those boots that has a nice amount of volume to it. It's not too high, it's not too low. They just wrap your foot very closely. This does have a brand new last for the 5th generation of the Furon. I just think they did a really good job with making a shape that will fit most people very securely and also very comfortably. The upper feels nice and flexible, super thin on feet, and the sole plate, while I did mention feels a little bit stiffer, it's not overly stiff in any way at all. It seems to move very nicely with the natural bend of your foot. As far as width is concerned, like I said, I think these will be suitable for most people. If you had really wide feet, again, they do make that wide fit variation, which is nice. I'm not sure why more brands don't do that. And as far as the sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, and this is just kind of dawning on me right now, what's interesting about the Furon V5 Pro is it's a boot that kind of has a classic speed boot feel to it while still utilizing all of the latest tech. I think what a lot of people complain about when it comes to the latest football boots and the latest speed boots is they don't like the direction that they're going. They don't like all this tech. They don't like some of the gimmicky stuff. They don't like knitted uppers in particular, because that is obviously a very popular trend in the industry right now, this not having a knitted upper. Like I said, this kind of has the feel of classic Tahitian synthetic. It kind of has some classic mercurial elements to it. So if you're a fan of those older style speed boots and don't really like what the bigger brands are doing now, kind of moving in this new direction, then something like the Furon V5 Pro is going to give you all of those nostalgic sensations that you're looking for, and it's a boot that you probably just didn't expect to provide that. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself or any of the latest New Balance boots for a limited time, special pricing for SR4U fans, first link down below in the description. Go ahead and check that out. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.